guys, welcome to another Nikkei Cards Baseball. Thanks for joining me tonight on this wonderful Wednesday evening, wherever you might be. Tonight on the channel is Vintage Wednesday, so we are going to be covering some vintage cards that I will be having in an auction on Facebook in the next coming days. Really excited to get into this. If you guys didn't get a chance to check out my video I uploaded yesterday, I did talk about some changes to the channel going forward. On Monday nights going forward, I will be doing just strictly new product breaks. So for example, 2024 Topps Series 2 came out today, and this coming Monday I do plan on opening quite a bit of that product. Hopefully I'm able to pick up some boxes in the next few days so that I can make a video on Monday night opening up Series 2. Really looking forward to getting into that product. But I know some of the subscribers really aren't interested in new product breaks. I do have another set of subscribers that are just strictly interested in vintage products. So I thought I would set aside one night a week to just work on and do videos as it relates to vintage product, which is basically going to be Wednesday nights going forward. So tonight is Vintage Wednesday, so we'll be talking about the cards that I currently have in front of me. I haven't made very many vintage videos lately because most of the auctions I've been doing on Facebook lately have been just me selling common cards for a pretty decent price, like 25 cents, 40 cents, or 50 cents. So that really doesn't relate to very good content if you're trying to make a YouTube video just showing a bunch of common cards. People just generally aren't interested in that, to be quite honest. People want to see more of the hits or the better cards. So those make better content, or Hall of Famer cards or that type of thing. And then on Friday nights going forward, I'll be just making videos as it relates to hobby news. I do make videos related to state of the hobby, or collecting on a budget, or hobby news videos, and I will continue to do that, but those videos will just be coming out on Friday night. That, I think, will make it more user-friendly for the subscribers. So I do, like I said, have subscribers that are interested in just me breaking new product. I do have another set of subscribers that are interested in vintage, and I do have some subscribers that are just interested in news. So the people that are interested in those particular subjects will be able to tune in on those particular nights or dedicated nights, and we'll be able to see the types of videos that they're interested in. So hopefully it works out. I really think it will. I think it'll be better for me and also for you, and make it more user-friendly going forward. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into Vintage Wednesday. Alrighty guys, let's go ahead and get into these cards. These cards are going to be basically from 1968 and 1972. There's only a couple cards from 1968 that we're going to talk about. Most of them are going to be from 1972. But before we get into them, I do want to let you guys know the general disclaimer, because every time I do make one of these types of videos, someone will send me a comment and say, well, I can't believe how crappy you're taking care of these cards, or not even in sleeves, and so on and so forth. So I do take them out of the plastic penny sleeves, or top loaders, whatever the case may be. And the reason why I do that is that so you guys can see the actual condition of the cards in the video. Sometimes when you show cards that are still in the penny sleeves or top loaders, the top loaders or penny sleeves have all kinds of scratches on them, and they can be misconstrued as being scratches on the actual card when in fact they aren't. So that is why I take them out of sleeves, so it gives you guys an actual idea of what the condition is. I will also be describing the condition and give you guys a general condition grade, whether that's very good or poor or near or not. There isn't going to be any here near mint to mint, but generally they'll be in the very good excellent or excellent condition. There might be a few pours in here or goods, but we will talk about that as we get into each particular card. So after I get done making this video, I will be making taking pictures of each one to prepare them for auction. I'll actually probably start the auction on like Friday night or Saturday, most likely on Saturday actually, and run the auction on Saturday and Sunday, so that you guys will have a chance to buy these particular cards. I will be selling them for a pretty good price, so keep an eye out for that this coming weekend on the Facebook Marketplace. If you guys haven't had a chance to go on Facebook and check out the Vintage Baseball Cards site, that is where these cards will be for sale. I will put up a link down in the description down below, so if you haven't had a chance to check that out, you guys can go ahead and do that. Sign up and become a member of the Vintage Card site. It is really a cool place to go to. I think next week, or maybe the week after, most likely next week, I will probably make a video showing you guys the actual Vintage Card site. I have talked to the owners of that particular site to get approval, so that I can show that site and show you guys basically how auctions work on there. It's actually kind of cool and pretty user friendly, and it makes it really easy for you guys to buy cards. The beauty of it is you don't have to pay any of the eBay fees or purchase fees or that type of thing. They're just a straight up what you bid and what you buy it at is the price that you pay. So it is kind of a cool thing. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into these cards. The first one up is this Roberto Clemente. I don't know exactly. I think this is from '68. This is from a game that came out in '68. There was several Hall of Famers that were included as far as a game piece, and this is the Bob Clemente. Most of these cards are going to be pretty beat up because, like I say, this was a game, and this one is no exception. There is a crease. The lighting is really bad in here, so I'll do my best. You can see a crease right there in the top left-hand corner, and also there is a crease, I believe, right down the side here. I think I can show it right there. So it is creased up a little bit, so I would put it in probably good condition. I will probably sell it for $5 will be the price of this card. It is kind of a cool and unique Roberto Clemente card, who was probably one of my best and most favorite baseball players when I was a kid. So that is this card. Next up, we've got this 1967 Pitching Leaders card with Hall of Famer Fergie Jenkins on it. It also does have other very good pitchers, Jim Bunning, and I don't know these other guys, Mike McCormick and Claude Osteen. Not familiar with these guys. I can't remember if Jim Bunning is in the Hall of Fame. I probably should have checked that out before I started making this video. But this card will basically be up for auction for $2. I don't think there's any creases on the card at all. You can see that the corners are pretty dinged up. The centering is actually pretty decent, probably 70-30 left to right. Top to bottom is probably 70-30 as well. The back is in good condition, so not a bad Fergie Jenkins card. This one, like I said, will probably sell for $2. Next up is the Tim McCarver Sporting News card. This card is in, I would probably put it very good to excellent condition. Again, the corners are going to be slightly rounded, particularly the upper right corner is slightly rounded, but the other corners really aren't too bad. There's a ding up here in the upper left, but there's no creases on the card. The card is in decent shape as far as scratches on the surface. Centering is actually pretty good, probably 60-40 top to bottom and 60-40 left to right, so not a bad card there. The back is in good condition, so this card will be for sale for $3 on the Tim McCarver Sporting News card. Next up on the 68 is Carl Yastrzemski, Hall of Famer Carl Yastrzemski. This card is creased. I would probably put it poor to good. It does have a fairly significant crease. You can see that over there on the right-hand side. It does also have a crease right here in the middle. You can see that a little bit. The corners are fairly dinged up. I'll probably just sell this card for $1. So centering is 70-30 left to right. Top to bottom isn't bad. The back is in pretty decent shape, but again, it is just a creasing issue that is affecting that card. And the same issue here with Willie McCovey. It is creased here on the bottom. Across the bottom, you can see that right there in the light. It is creased a little bit on the bottom of the card. The corners are fairly dinged up. This edge is kind of jacked right here. The centering is 70-30 left to right. Top to bottom is actually pretty decent. The back is in good condition. but I would probably put this in poor to good condition as well. So this card will probably sell for $1 as well, maybe $2. I'll see what the comps are basically on it. Alrighty, so that's the 68s that we got. The 68s I'm a little bit disappointed in because they aren't in that great of shape, but hopefully these 72s are a little bit better. First up is Norm Cash. I do have 3 Norm Cash cards. He was a pretty good player for the Tigers for a long time. He is not a Hall of Famer, but all 3 of these cards are basically going to be for $1. This one has creases along the top, you can see right there, and has some creases on the bottom. I don't actually even know if I'm going to even sell this card because for the value of it, I mean, it might be a 50-cent card. It doesn't make sense to run a single auction for a 50-cent card, so I probably won't sell that one. This one is actually in fairly decent shape, even though the centering is off. There isn't any creases on the card, any visible creases. The centering, though, is 90-10 from left to right. Top to bottom is 90-10 as well. So it is a miscut card, which is pretty common for the 72s. So I will sell this card basically for $2 is what I'll put that up for sale for. This card is actually in fairly decent shape as well. It does have some slight wrinkling on the top. There isn't any... Pardon my language tonight, I don't know what's going on. But anyways, there isn't any significant creases on the card at all. The centering is 80-20, actually probably 60-40 from left to right. Top to bottom is probably the same 60-40. So I will sell this card for $2. Next up is the Don Baylor rookie card, which is the major rookie. There's also Johnny Oates rookie card on here as well for the Baltimore Orioles, first in 1972. Pretty decent card, in good shape, other than the fact that it does have a crease right here across Johnny Oates' bill of his cap. That is the only flaw in the card. I will probably sell this card for $2. Then we get into these ERA cards, ERA leaders. You do have Vida Blue and also Jim Palmer on the card. Jim Palmer, Hall of Famer. And sorry about that. So yeah, this is the ERA leader cards, and basically the major, like I said, Vida Blue and Jim Palmer were the 2 big players of the time. Vida Blue unfortunately never got in the Hall of Fame. He had pretty severe substance abuse issues, which I think probably led to him not being elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame. But Jim Palmer is definitely a Hall of Famer and a very deserving member of the Hall of Fame. And we do have 2 of these cards. Both of these will sell for $2 a piece, so we'll put that up on Saturday. Next up, we got Tom Seaver, another Hall of Famer. This card is actually in pretty decent shape. It does have a slight crease over here on the right side of the card. The back is in good condition. The centering is actually 60-40 left to right and top to bottom. The centering on the back is a little bit off, 80-20, or probably actually more 90-10 top to bottom on the back. But not a bad Tom Seaver card. I will sell this one for $3. Next up is the NL pitching leaders with 3 Hall of Famers on it: Fergie Jenkins, Steve Carlton, and Tom Seaver. This card is in pretty decent shape other than the miscut here top to bottom. There isn't any visible creases on the card at all. There is a ding on the upper left and upper right hand corner. On the bottom corner here is a little bit rounded. You can see that there. The back is in decent shape. The centering is 90-10 left to right. Top to bottom is basically 95-5. There is a slight bit of white on the bottom. But again, like I said, it is an issue with the 1972 cards. This card I will put up for auction for $3. Next up is Hall of Famer Ted Simmons. I thought we had a couple of Ted Simmons cards, but let's go over this one first. Not a bad card at all. There isn't any visible creases on the card. The centering is 60-40 left to right. Top to bottom is more 70-30. On the back is, let's say, 70-30 top to bottom. And, left to right. Top to bottom is 90-10. But not a bad card of Ted Simmons. I will throw that card up for sale for $4. Denny McLain, another guy that was pretty dominant pitching for the years that he did play baseball. He only basically played baseball for 10 years, but he was pretty dominant, primarily with the Detroit Tigers, is mostly his claim to fame. He did have 31 wins in 1968, 31-6 record, which was pretty outstanding. ERA of 1.96. Can you even imagine that this year? That would be crazy numbers. Obviously we'll never ever see anybody get over 20 wins. I don't think going forward with the relief pitching the way it is. I don't think we'll ever see another 20-game winner, let alone 31 like Denny McLain had that year. But anyways, he wasn't a Hall of Famer at all, but still a very collectible card. This card is in pretty decent shape. It is centered probably 50-50, left to right, top to bottom. I'd put it at 90-10, but there isn't any creases on the card at all. I will put this one up for auction for $3. Next person up is Bob Gibson, the most dominant pitcher probably in the World Series. He did win 2 World Series MVPs, which was pretty incredible. He did have multiple 20-win seasons. He was just an unbelievable pitcher. I think what was ERA, his lowest ERA on the back, 1.12 in 1968, I believe, or 1967? No, yeah, 1968. 1.12 ERA. That is dominance beyond dominance. That is an incredible ERA. What was his record that year? Let me see here. It was 22-9. 9 losses with a 1.12 ERA. Anyways, a pretty good pitcher, not a pretty good pitcher, an outstanding pitcher for many, many years was Bob Gibson. I've got this card up for auction for $10. It is in really good condition. There isn't any creases on the card. Centering is 60-40 left to right, and I would say 60-40 top to bottom. The centering on the back is actually pretty decent as well, and the back is in good condition. So I think this is a really good card for $8 on the Bob Gibson card. Next up, we got Billy Martin, known more for his managerial prowess than he was as a player for the New York Yankees. He did manage multiple clubs. Obviously, he was most known for managing the Yankees in the late 70s and early 80s. He did manage my Minnesota Twins for a brief period. In 1969, he managed them. A excellent manager, but he is definitely a Hall of Famer on the managerial side. This card is in pretty decent shape. I don't see any visible creases on the card at all. It does have some corner issues on the tops and also on the bottom right and top left. It does have a slight ding in the upper right as well. I will put this card up for sale for $3 on the Billy Martin card. Next up, we got Hall of Famer Gaylord Perry. The centering on the top to bottom basically is 100 and 0, so there's basically not much of a top there that touches the side or touches the top of the card. Centering left to right, I would put it at 95-5 or maybe 90-10. Let's call it that. You can see that the top is basically missing on the back. But not a bad Gaylord Perry card. It doesn't have any visible creases on the card at all. It is in pretty decent shape, but Gaylord Perry, I wouldn't put him as a top tier Hall of Famer. He would be more of a mid-tier type of Hall of Famer. So he gets a mid-tier price of basically $2 on that card. Alrighty guys, next up we got Maury Wills, not a baseball Hall of Famer, but let's call him a Hall of Very Good player. He was known for his ability to steal bases. I think he actually held the stolen base record first before Lou Brock broke it. But anyways, Maury Wills, I will sell this card for $2 on the Maury Wills card. Hall of Famer Tony Oliva. This is actually a really nice card of Tony O. Actually one of my very favorite players when I was growing up. I was a huge Tony Oliva fan. And to top it all off, he is a great guy. I've had the chance to meet him a couple times at autograph sessions and also through friends, and a really good guy. Anyways, the centering on this card I would say is 60-40 top to bottom and left to right. It does have a slight wrinkle on the top edge, but I wouldn't call it a crease. The bottom corner here on the right is pretty dinged up. The top isn't too bad. The top left is in pretty decent shape. The back is in good condition other than centering issue left or right on the back. Let's call that 95.5. But the centering on the front is actually pretty decent for 1972. So this card will be for sale for $3 on the Tony O. Next up, we got Sparky Anderson, longtime manager for the Cincinnati Reds and Detroit Tigers, were his basic calls to fame, for sure. He was the manager of the Big Red Machine in the early 70s. This card is centered 60-40 left to right, let's say. Top to bottom is 90-10. The back is in pretty decent shape other than the centering issue on the top to bottom on the back as well. There isn't any visible creases on the card, so this card will be for $2. Next up is the 72 Carl Yastrzemski card. Carl Yastrzemski here, I would probably say the centering is, let's say 60-40 left to right, 60-40 top to bottom. There is a slight wrinkle. I wouldn't call it a crease across the top of the card, but it is slightly wrinkled. The top of the card, or top corner, top right-hand corner, does have a ding out of it. The bottom right is in fairly dinged up shape, but the other two corners aren't too terribly bad. You can see the centering on the back is probably the same as what it is on the front. So this card will be for sale for $4 on Carl Yastrzemski. The last card we got up is Reggie Jackson. The centering on this card is 90-10 left to right and also top to bottom. The back of the card is in decent shape. There isn't any visible creases on the card at all. The surface is actually in fairly decent condition. Anyways, this card will be for sale for $8 on the Reggie Jackson card. There isn't any creases, like I said. It is just more or less a centering issue on those two bubbles. So that is what we got that will be coming up for auction this coming weekend. So if you're interested in going ahead and buying any of these cards, you can go to the Facebook Vintage Baseball card site and purchase these cards or bid on these cards this coming weekend. So this will be a bid auction. The prices that I went ahead and listed will be the starting bid price for each particular card. If you are interested in buying them, like I said, you can go on the Vintage Card site and make bids on them if you choose to do so. I will put a link again down in the description. So if you are interested in signing up for the Vintage Card site, that link will take you to the channel so that you guys can take a look at it and see what's out there. There is like 52,000 members of the Vintage Card site, so it does get lots of traction. It is a busy site, and it is a great place to buy and sell cards. I do sell a lot on there. I also do a lot of buying on there as well. Anyways, that is all I got for you guys tonight. So stay tuned for next Wednesday when we will be doing our next vintage card. So stay tuned next Wednesday, come back next Wednesday when we'll be making our next vintage card video on Vintage Card Wednesday. Thanks, guys. Hit that like and subscribe. And you can also follow me on TikTok. If any of you are interested in TikTok or have TikTok, you can follow me there as well. And check out my video shorts on TikTok as well as the YouTube channel. Anyways, guys, thanks. Be safe and happy collecting.